Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Brisket Medic, and today we're going to be doing some amazing prime beef plate ribs, dino ribs, whatever you want to call them. These are going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be cooking on the old country Pecos. We got these prime beef ribs over at HEB, and it's a 3-bone rib. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Today I'm going to be using a couple of different rubs from Suckle Busters. We're going to start it off with a little bit of espresso barbecue rub, and then we're going to hit it with some 1836 and just kind of layer those flavors that way. This one's already been trimmed pretty well, so all I'm really going to do is take a little bit of this fat off the top and some of the silver skin, and then I'm going to hit it, like I said, light layer of the espresso, heavy layer of 1836, and then throw it on the smoker for a couple of hours. We're going to give you some tips and tricks to keep these things from falling apart, but also make them some of the best ribs you've ever had. Stay tuned. Like I said, folks, we're going to do just a simple trim up. We're going to open this up and just take, you can see the silver skin here. This fat's okay. This fat's okay. What we're really going to worry about is the silver skin. As we flip it over, you see these have a membrane, much like a pork rib does. This is really important to stay on during these cooks, because this is really holding that meat to the bone. If you were to take this off, you would just have meat falling apart, because this is a very well marbled piece of meat, and just the nature of the connective tissue in these ribs. So we want to leave the silver skin on the bottom, take it off the top, and then really just kind of chop our edges, make it aerodynamic, and that's it. Very simple. You'll notice when we season, we're not going to season the bottom, usually because that membrane gets pulled off as you're eating, and flavor cannot penetrate through a membrane. That is an impermeable membrane. Salt can't even soak through it, so there's no point in seasoning over that membrane. So let's get these cut open, get them seasoned up, throw them on the grill. If you've played with your smoker enough, you know that the hot side is towards the back, away from the door. So the side with the most meat on it, we're actually going to be placing that direction for the first couple of hours, so that it can get kind of a jump start and cook a little more evenly that way. And also, this side of the bones will be facing the fire. So we're going to start it off right back here. We'll get this shut down. We'll come back and check on it in about 2.5 hours. Alright, folks, and as usual fashion, West Texas wind has picked up and blown. We did just throw another log on the fire. It was getting down to about 225 or so. So let's take a look at this thing. It's been about 2.5 hours, and let's take a look at it. Nothing's coming off on my finger. Seems okay. Not too bad. It's a little bit dry, so I am going to go ahead and spritz that a little bit, and then we're going to take it and turn it around 180 degrees and put this thicker in towards the front. Remember, we had this thicker side towards the back. That is the hotter side of the smoker. We're starting to get some pullback on these ribs here, and we're going to try to get more even pullback than normal on those. So let's Let's go ahead and get it flipped around and get it spritzed up. Good rendering we see there. There's a tendon that runs about halfway through that meat, and that's going to render down nicely. So hit it with our spritz. Not too much, not too heavy. This is a very light spray, not a lot of pressure in the bottle. We just want to get some moisture on the surface there where it's dry so that the smoke can adhere to it, can slow down that cooking just a little bit. Again, it's going to be negligible in the entirety of the cook, but we're slowing down the outside of the cooking of that of those ribs to allow more even cooking throughout. So we're going to do that every hour or so. This is just my grease pan from a grease catcher from another cooker. I like to cook it for a while so it's easier for me to dump when I need to dump it, so just ignore that. But we'll come out here and check on this every 45 minutes to an hour and see if we need to spritz it anymore. But I'm going to try to let this hold out the entire time. I do not want to wrap this before the stall, if I wrap it at all, to preserve that bark the best that we can, because we did cut the fat off the top side. So we're going to let this ride out. If I wrap it, I'll bring you back to wrap it. If not, I'll bring you back as soon as this bad boy's done. Six and a half hours later, folks, let's go ahead and test this out. Now remember, with these ribs, just like anything else, you can use temperature as kind of a guideline, but you really want to have the feeling of tenderness to tell you when it's done. So we're going to go ahead and probe these up and see how they're looking. Oh wow, slip right through there. Yep. Yeah, that's looking good. 194. Like I said, temperature is kind of a guideline. More something to look for is the feel, and they feel probe tender. See how the bones have pulled back equally on both sides. That's kind of what we were going for by turning this through the cook that way. Let's go ahead and pull it out and see how she feels. Oh yeah, feeling for that kind of that jiggle and wiggle like that. See how that does? Pull them out, let them sit on the counter for a couple minutes, then we're going to slice them up and try them out. Folks, we've got these sitting on the board. They've been resting for just a few minutes, and I can't wait any longer to get these sliced up and see how they look, and more importantly, see how they taste. Got this amazing bark cutting right down between the ribs here. Oh yeah. Oh, this looks so good. And they are tender. Boy, they're tender. Look at that. That looks awesome. Gosh, that looks good. Looks so good. I'm gonna take a picture real fast for the thumbnail. Come back, we'll taste it. These are going to be absolutely amazing. Remember, we rubbed these down with a light layer of the espresso beef rub from Suckle Busters, and then we topped it off with the 1836 with a great layer for the flavor and the color that it offers. We used some split oak on our Old Country Pecos that we had modified the intake, the exhaust, and removed the baffle. We cooked it at 275 degrees for just at 6 to 6.5 hours, and now it looks amazing. We did spritz it about 3 or 4 times, not too much and not too early, to maximize our bark and also our flavor. Let's go ahead and take a bite out of one of these. I'm super excited about this. That just looks so amazing. That is so amazing. Dino beef ribs, prime cut. Guys, this is delicious and worth the wait. It's like brisket on the stick, a little bit better. Absolutely delicious. Can't stop. If you've never tried this, go ahead and give it a go. Pretty forgiving piece of meat. As long as you are patient with it, make sure you give me a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much. This is something that I asked you guys about, what you wanted to see cook next. This is what you said, so on my next poll, make sure you're all going and answering that on the communities tab. And remember, folks, drink more water. I love you.